From a creator who's making more money than any young person could dream of comes the Skibidi Toilet enterprise, the most viral and arguably silly internet sensation right now, reaching numbers of consumers that are nothing short of shocking. But there are fears this trend exposes profound cultural changes currently happening in the world, something we might just have to change lest we enter the dark realm of a dumbed-down dystopia. Skibidi Toilet, some say, might not be the harmless fun it at first seems. Today we'll look into that and tell you just about everything else you need to know about this animated apocalyptic phenomenon. Number 50. This seemingly addictive animated YouTube series has led to people talking about Skibidi Toilet syndrome. You heard that right. Videos of toilets going toe-to-toe with camera heads and other cyborg-like machines, the Alliance, have led to websites issuing warnings to parents. Like the sign to the entrance of Dante's Hell, attached to those videos they say should be the warning, "Abandon hope, all ye who enter here." We'll explain in detail later what they mean and tell you about how Reddit users have issued a massive collective facepalm in regard to this Skibidi Toilet trend. For now, we'll say in a nutshell, the videos are short, around a minute each, and feature animated severed human heads inside toilet bowls in a fight for world supremacy against human-looking figures who are part speakers, TVs, or cameras. Throughout the series, new characters appear often with new weapons. This might not sound particularly interesting, but fans say there's much more to it, and some people just don't get that. Number 49. The show, currently a series of 90-plus videos, was developed by a self-taught animator named Alexei Gerasimov. This young man, who you'll soon see is raking in more money than a pharmaceutical company during a health crisis, is just 25 years old. He's created something that has taken over the online world, and he did it all from his bedroom. He gets kudos for that, whatever you think of the show. While his relatively new creation has made him a kind of internet superstar, he's been animating since 2014. Last year, he came out with his 17-plus minute-long video Ultimate Male 07 compilation. It's been watched over 83 million times. It's not a part of the Skibidi Toilet series, but like Skibidi Toilet, the video is completely nonsensical. Still, this kind of thing is obviously very entertaining to young folks. What this says about youth culture is something we'll talk about when we get a bit more serious later in the show. First, let's look at some data. Number 48. Da Fuck Boom joined YouTube on June 6, 2016. This channel in total, when we started making the show, had 29.2 million subscribers and had released 242 videos. The videos have taken over the world in terms of what young people are watching. Number 47. On February 12, 2017, he released his first video titled Very Big Smoke's Order. It's kind of based on the Grand Theft Auto video game franchise. Just to give you an idea about what these youngins like so much, we'll explain what happens. A giant, who is the powerful underworld character Big Smoke from GTA, goes up to a McDonald's counter and, in a deep and booming voice, makes a kind of order a giant would make, featuring a long list of products. When he's told the bill will be $200,000, he says, "Oh poop." Well, we had to censor that last word, but we're sure you get it. In the latter part of the video, we see Carl Johnson, the GTA character who dreams of one day getting out of the hood. So that was it. People loved it. The top comment on the video said, "The best part is he could have smashed in and taken all the food, but politely waited in line and when hearing the exorbitant price, was still willing to pay it. A true gentleman." Viewers obviously took this kind of thing seriously. Quite a large number of the comments on the video, which over 2.6 million people watched, said something like, "This is where the legend was born." By May 2017, his channel only had around 10,000 subs. That's not anything to be ashamed of, but within a few months, his total video views numbered over 3 million. He had 50,000 subscribers just by the end of that year, and things were just heating up. Number 46. In March 2017, Gerasimov wrote beneath his video titled SFM I'm at Dip that he wasted 2 weeks making the animation. Wasted. Huh. That video right now has 46,545,817 views. The animation was a sign of things to come. It mixes violence with utterly absurd humor, a combination that's become Gerasimov's trademark. What was so special about it to get over 46 million views? Well, Big Smoke has an argument on the phone with CJ about buying goods, namely some dip, and then Big Smoke's head pops out through the phone, and while roaring, he sucks everyone and everything into his giant mouth. He consumes a tank, military helicopters, guns, soldiers, Shrek, a guerrilla warfare terrorist from Counter-Strike Source. Here we see how Gerasimov, then just age 19, had a thing about humans and technology becoming one. It seems completely ridiculous, but was Gerasimov making a clever statement about mass consumerism? We'll figure that out as we go along. The top comment said, "I just found this channel, it's glorious. Another commentator called it a masterpiece. People said there were hidden meanings. One viewer said the symbolism was deep, adding, "Such attention to detail Hollywood lacks nowadays." Is this why kids are turning away from Hollywood? Number 45. By the middle of 2018, his video had 35 million views. At the start of 2019, he had over 300,000 subs. In April 2019, his videos had been watched a total of 100 million times. He had 500,000 subscribers at the end of that year, but 200 million video views by April 2020. He hit 1 million subs at 5:43 a.m. November 23, 2021. That's when YouTube gets in touch with creators and gives them a gold play button plaque to put on their wall, as well as sending them a letter saying, "You delivered the audience, now we're delivering the rewards." Mr. Gerasimov was barely getting started. Skibidi Toilet hadn't even come out yet. Before we talk about his many accomplishments, let's get a bit silly ourselves. Number 44. Humans like toilet humor, but a toilet-driven dystopian sci-fi series becoming the world's most watched online content, no one could have expected. Mainly because it doesn't make much sense, and we mean that in a practical way. As you know, you sit on the toilet above what's called the pan. When you flush, water, anywhere from 3 to 6 liters comes out of the rim and flushes the contents down a hole. In Skibidi Toilet, the human head comes up through this hole. The thing is, that hole is almost always anywhere from 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and the human head is on average 6 to 7 inches in diameter. Most of your sewage then goes down a small pipe about 3 inches in diameter. From just one human, this pipe could possibly be fed about 320 pounds of poop and pee each year. That's not important, but what is important is that no human head could fit in those pipes and indeed come up through your toilet. But let's say if one could. If so, where would it come from? The answer is a sewage pipe that collects your poop and pee from inside your house along with other water, such as dishwater. This sewage goes into a larger sewage pipe and rolls downhill where it joins sewage from other houses. It then joins bigger pipes, sometimes big enough for a bus to go through, where it heads to a sewage treatment plant, and the harmful stuff is removed. That sewage water is cleaned with chemicals, the larger stuff is taken out, and what's left up ends in a river, maybe an ocean if there's one nearby. As for how water gets into your house, well, it usually comes from the public water supply. Water will move to your city from the main water line into your house's supply line, which is usually less than 1 inch in diameter. Either way, a human head couldn't get into or out of your toilet bowl. No siree, that's not going to happen. Still, we might ask, are toilets dangerous, just as they are perceived in Skibidi Toilet? The series is actually quite frightening for some people. Why do toilets scare people? Number 43. There are in the region of 40,000 toilet-related injuries in the US every year, mainly from things on the seat damaging the buttocks or the toilets collapsing. People fall off them, and in some cases, toilets explode. In 2012, 2.3 million toilets in the US were recalled, as they were at a risk of exploding. The US Product Safety Commission explained that the Flushmate toilet could burst at or near the vessel weld seam, releasing stored pressure, which could explode and leave shards of the toilet in your face. It gets worse. Number 42. There have been pooping deaths before. It's been said in medical journals that autopsy studies continue to reveal missed bowel obstruction as an unexpected cause of death. As you know, when you push and poop, you automatically go through a routine with your body. This is called the Valsalva maneuver. As you breathe in, you hold that breath, and then you exhale, a noise that you'll hear throughout your life in public bathrooms. As people do this, their lungs expand and push down on their diaphragm. This movement then pushes down on their abdominal organs. It puts pressure on their pelvic area, and this, in turn, helps the muscles in their anus expand, and hey presto, you drop the kids off at the pool. But what if the kids are rather large kids? What if they've stubbornly been sitting in someone and refusing to take a swim? They might have to push harder, and with all this pushing and holding of their breath, their blood flow is interrupted. Less blood gets to their heart and their brain, which leads to a drop in blood pressure. How many of you watching this show have at one time or another gone for a super poop and ended up feeling really dizzy? In some cases, people might even faint, a condition known as defecation syncope. It shouldn't really be an issue with most people, but if you already have heart and blood pressure issues, this poop could turn into the poop of death. In the last 20 years, there have been 4 well-known poop deaths, one being a British politician named Christopher Shale, who died of a heart attack on one of those stinky portable toilets at the Glastonbury Music Festival. Now, for one more reason why toilets are scary and why Gerasimov might have tapped into one of our primal fears. Number 41. In the US, one concern is black widow spiders hiding under toilet seats and nipping your backside, but in Thailand, there's a much bigger threat, namely massive, scary, horrible snakes. Yep, giant pythons have been able to slither up through the pipes and grab a person's crown jewels. In 2016, there were reports of a man in Thailand taking a poop when an 11-foot python clamped onto his penis, causing the guy to scream like he's never screamed before and causing a lot of blood to splatter around the toilet. He told the Bangkok Post the python was yanking very hard on his member as he and his wife tried to pull it off. Other recent reports feature a 62-year-old Thai man fighting off a python when it bit his buttocks while he was on the toilet. In 2020, an 18-year-old student in Thailand told the press about his fight with a toilet python, saying, "I suddenly felt pain in my penis. I looked down and saw there was a snake hanging on in the toilet. Then there was blood everywhere." His mother said he will now be scared every time he goes to the toilet. We imagine he's not a big fan of Skibidi Toilet. Let's face it, the creator of these videos has latched on to a primal fear of ours. In the distant past, humans were vulnerable to animal attack when they went to the toilet outdoors, i.e. behind a bush. In fact, if you look at news from around the world, there are numerous reports of people being attacked by wild animals as they went for a wee or a poo in the bush. Are we going too far in talking about primal fears? Okay, let's reel ourselves in a bit now. Number 40. So you know that Da Fuck Boom had 1 million subscribers in November 2020. That's pretty crazy, but on May 15th, 2023, he had a whopping 5 million subscribers. Number 39. And by June 7th that same year, he had 10 million. How did he get so many subscribers so fast? Number 38. Just so you know, Da Fuck Boom, with his 29.2 million subscribers in total right now, is not breaking any records. He might be getting an explosive number of video views, but where subs are concerned, he's nowhere near a contender for the top spot. That would go to India's T-Series channel, which has 249 million plus subscribers. Still, T-Series has been going a long time, while Da Fuck Boom's been getting most of his subs in the last year. In 2020, T-Series was getting over 4 billion video views a month, and lately that number's been in the 2 billion plus bracket. That is still very impressive, even if T-Series is a big company, not just some guy sitting alone in his bedroom. Mr. Beast might be a channel we could better compare to Da Fuck Boom. This is the channel owned by YouTube pioneer and highest paid YouTuber in 2021, Jimmy Donaldson. For August 2023, his videos were watched an amazing 1.9 billion times. He earned a cool $54 million that year, above the number 2 spot Jake Paul, who earned $45 million, but got most of his money from boxing people he was sure he had a good chance of beating. His YouTube videos were only watched 60 million times in August 2023, which is still impressive, but it's not Paul's go-to money tree these days. Markiplier was the third highest paid YouTuber with a total of 38 million. We'll see how that looks next to Gerasimov's earnings later. Number 37. The first Skibidi Toilet video was posted on February 7, 2023. That week, his videos were watched 1.9 million times. But from February 13th to February 20th, his videos were watched 34.2 million times. Such a sudden increase is rare in the YouTube world, but things then went even crazier. Number 36. From April 17th to April 24th, his video views were 46.5 million. Number 35. From April 24th to May 1st, that went up to 154 million. Number 34. Skibidi Toilet has even faced off against another YouTube sensation, Siren Head. While Siren Head is still crushing overall individual video views with a whopping 172 million, Skibidi Toilet still has some catching up to do. Number 33. From May 1st to May 8th, it increased to 495.6 million. Number 32. From May 8th to May 15th, his views increased to a massive 745 million. In the entire month, his views added up to 822.9 million, and then things went crazy some more. Number 31. In June, his videos had been watched 3.8 billion times, and in July, it was 6.8 billion views, and then in August, 8.9 billion views, which is enough for every person of the 8.06 billion people in the world to watch the video at least one time. It's frankly amazing, and it was all down to his toilet series. Obviously, since the videos are short, they are easy to watch, and we guess his fans watch them numerous times. Even so, it's still impressive. If we look at some popular Netflix series judging by views, not hours streamed, Squid Game Season 1 only managed to get 265.2 million views. Wednesday got 252.1 million views. Stranger Things Season 4 received 140.7 million views. Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, generated 115.6 million, and Bridgerton Season 1 was viewed 113.3 million times. The question many people have been asking is, has YouTube taken over TV where young people are concerned? Number 30. TV has never seen numbers like Skibidi Toilet's numbers. The 1983 season finale of the TV show MASH saw the largest ever viewership at 105 million. Next was the season finale of Cheers at 80.4 million viewers in 1993. The last episode of Friends in 2004 could only scrape 52.5 million views. The final episode of Game of Thrones saw a season record of 19.3 million viewers, which was great but not in the same league as Skibidi Toilet. Number 29. Then there are the shows that people and critics have called masterpieces, including Breaking Bad, 10.9 million views in the finale, and more recently Succession, 2.9 million, and the great heavyweights of TV, The Sopranos, 11.9 million season finale views, and The Wire with 1 million. The Wire might have been like a fine wine, not enjoyed by people who don't have a refined taste. But even so, you'd have thought the finale would have brought in more than a paltry 1 million views. Shows such as The Sopranos, The Simpsons, and Breaking Bad are often called the single greatest creative achievement on television in the history of the world. But at the side of Skibidi Toilet, they are small-time players. Well, at least where eyes on the product are concerned, and that's where the money is. The question is this because of some generational change? The Wire, written by a former Baltimore journalist and a former cop, was complex and multi-layered. Still, like Skibidi Toilet, it was about violence of the streets, oppression, and rebellion. It was just much better. But it seemed young folks these days would rather watch toilets bashing cameras and TVs than to try to figure out why violence happens in the first place. What happened to drive this change? Number 28. You could say that Skibidi Toilet attracts younger people, but the data shows that these old shows were very popular with people aged 17 to 35. We can't find the exact demographics, but the so-called golden age was popular with the youth, not just the oldies. Also, Skibidi Toilet is too violent for young kids. It's a young adults show, not a children's show. We looked at a long Reddit thread in which people stated they were huge fans of Skibidi Toilet, and many of the people said they were aged 14 to 17, but a lot of others were in their 20s, some in their 30s, and some in their 40s. Young people, it seems, really are turning off the TV and replacing hour-long episodes with short blasts of YouTube content. And this has some people genuinely concerned about the state of mankind. Number 27. Something has changed in the culture, which is why you can find numerous Reddit threads asking things like, "What the bleep is up with Skibidi Toilet?" The most upvoted answer to that question was, "If it's a trend or popular, the gods of cringe will appear and bestow upon us this trash." Your humble writers here at the Infographics Show have another theory. Number 26. Imagine you're a kid with an attention span issue, and you might even spend your life gobbling down psychostimulant methamphetamine pills or Ritalin. What kind of content would be ideal for you? Something that lasts an hour and asks you to think a lot, to appreciate nuanced characters and ask questions about society? Or a 1-minute cartoon that plays really repetitive music and bleeds out panic-inducing monosyllables while toilets blast guns and lasers at giant walking TV men? We think you probably know the answer to that question, but let's get a little scientific about this. Number 25. We should talk about ADHD in more detail. We're going to go out on a limb and say this and something else related to it is one major reason why Skibidi Toilet is taking over the internet. This is just our own theory, so feel free to criticize us in the comments. What's not theory, according to a doctor writing on the website Psychology Today, is that over the last decade or two, there's been a steep increase in ADHD diagnoses in adults and children. 60% of cases in the US are diagnosed in adolescence, but ADHD carries on into adulthood. These people, say the doctor, may struggle to pay attention for a long time, manage their time, or make decisions. They're easily distracted, so long-form content might not be ideal. It's thought about 5 million people aged between 4 and 17 in the US have been diagnosed with ADHD, almost twice as many boys as girls, and the numbers have kept on increasing over the years. About 4% of American adults have been diagnosed with it, 62% of them being males. Is this one reason why video shorts such as YouTube short videos, TikTok, and Meta's Reels have become so popular? Are we failing to concentrate on longer content? Are you still listening? Okay, good. Number 24. ADHD is nothing new. It's just the number of diagnoses has been rising. It first appeared in the Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-3R, in 1968. Still, the Scottish physician, Sir Alexander Crichton, wrote about something similar back in 1798, and physicians discussed using stimulants to treat it back in 1937. We also have to understand that in the past, people might have had it, but they didn't get it treated because of the stigma behind mental illness. It just wasn't well understood either, so doctors may not have even been able to discuss it. Still, there's more to losing concentration often than ADHD. Number 23. The attention span thing's not always about ADHD. According to recent research, we are just losing the ability to concentrate in general. A scientist speaking to Time magazine explained that many people have been going to the doctor believing they have ADHD when in fact they just have a problem paying attention and focusing. He explained, "Our attention span has markedly decreased in just 15 years. In 2004, researchers said the average attention span when looking at a screen was 2.5 minutes. But screen attention spans have also decreased over the last few years. In fact, the co-director of the Center for Attention, Learning, and Memory at St. Bonaventure University in New York told Time our loss of attention has reached epidemic levels. Does this mean our art forms and technologies are causing it, or do we need these easier and shorter art forms because of it?" In answer to that, The Guardian said in 2022, "Your attention didn't collapse, it was stolen." Number 22. Microsoft conducted a study on this and said our digital lifestyle has seriously affected our ability to concentrate. Notably, Microsoft doesn't have a video short platform. Cynical? Maybe. Time magazine wrote, researchers in Canada surveyed 2,000 participants and studied the brain activity of 112 others using electroencephalograms or EEGs. Microsoft found that since the year 2000, or about when the mobile revolution began, the average attention span dropped from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. Number 21. 77% of people in one study answered yes when they were asked if they were not occupied. The first thing they would do is reach for their phone. These people were aged 18 to 24. In the age group of 65 and up, only 10% said yes. Your phone is an attention-seeking machine. Not only do we receive a hit of dopamine when we receive likes and mentions and get new messages, but those bright colors, crazy sounds, and that wonderful, loving vibration our phones make affect our brains. We become addicted to those multi-sense signals. Research shows that phones affect our brain's reward circuits. They can lead to an increase and decrease in the neurotransmitter gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, and this can lead to calming us or produce a euphoric effect. The amount of gray matter can change too, something that researchers have said can produce an effect seen in the brains of heavy substance users and abusers. Number 20. So we might be looking for a short, sharp blast, a cheap, effective hit that doesn't require much thinking. Is it any wonder that short videos full of explosions, loud, repetitive music, and cornucopias of colors are attractive to your average kid? Why do people get off planes and immediately go to their phones? Just as people used to light up a cigarette, it's not as if, in most cases, they need to look at their phones. They're doing it because they're in withdrawal, according to researchers. Number 19. Now scientists are talking about an attentional, pathogenic culture, which refers to us living in an environment that makes it impossible to concentrate for long. In fact, a leading French scientist told The Guardian, "There's no way we can have a normal brain today." Number 18. A research study found that college students could study one task alone for 65 seconds, about the same length as a Skibidi Toilet video. Office workers fared somewhat better, able to pay attention to one task on average for 3 minutes. Number 17. Long-form podcasts and bingeable TV series are still extremely popular, though. The most popular podcast in the world, The Joe Rogan Experience, has content that is usually over 2 hours long. His longest podcast, with the comedian Duncan Trussell, is about 5 hours and 19 minutes. On YouTube, Rogan has 15.5 million subscribers and gets around 50 million video views a month, even though he switched his main podcast to Spotify. On YouTube, his 1,081 uploads have been watched in total 3,162,789,429 times. You could spend in the region of 226 days if you watched his content back to back. So the attention span crisis doesn't mean people can't concentrate at all, but it does mean more and more people, younger people, are looking for a simple fix that doesn't require much mental effort. Number 16. Science and technology videos on YouTube, according to researchers, generate around 12.2 billion monthly views and are watched for around 766.7 million hours. That's impressive, but researchers say younger people are starting to switch over to shorter content. More mentally stimulating and educational content is being watched less, even though a staggering number of people still watch YouTube. In 2022, 8 out of 10 18 to 49-year-olds in the USA watched YouTube videos monthly. In the 25 to 44 age group, the number was even higher. 91% of 18 to 29-year-olds watch YouTube. In all, 62% of YouTube users are male. So if you were going to make a YouTube video for the most hits, you'd make stuff for young males, such as short videos of toilets trying to take over the world. The study was published by the National Institutes of Health in 2022. The world is watching YouTube, it said, but on average, the amount of time people spend on a video is just 2.2 minutes. Shorter is better, it seems. The group that stayed on videos the longest were 55 to 64-year-olds and people 65 or older. Number 15. The researchers wrote, users may be less likely to engage with longer videos given their limited attention spans and heightened expectations in an increasingly competitive media environment. What's surprising is they found that even though videos with more likes get more engagement, videos with tons of dislikes receive on average more comments. They say that controversial content, say something that many people think is dumb, polarizes people, and they then interact with it because users feel a strong emotional urge to express their opinion. They called this the nasty effect. Skibidi Toilet wins again because it's so dumb, according to its detractors, that it's driving people to criticize it and its fans. It's controversial. Basically, what we're saying is that regardless of what you think about Skibidi Toilet, this guy's come out with the almost perfect product. It's flashy, it's loud, and it's short, it appeals to young people, and since there's no real storyline, you can get your fix without having to put in any effort. The fact that the animators lack any deep narrative structure is also a work of genius. If this theory is correct, it is so dumb that it divides people, as you can see in the comments section on countless posts on Reddit. This might mean that everything about Skibidi Toilet is a work of genius, if you don't think too much about how dumb it is. It ticks all the right boxes. In the years to come, we might say the dumpacalypse really started with Skibidi Toilet. This is only a theory. But did Gerasimov know his work was going to take over YouTube when he started making it? Was he always intending to exploit a human vulnerability while making himself very rich? Number 14. As we said, this kid is a kid who taught himself in his own bedroom and has invented something billions of people have seen. He's done very well, and he's spent years honing his skills, which can only be said to be a great thing. He's obviously pretty creative, but he certainly didn't reinvent the wheel. He took assets from other games, Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike Source, Gary's Mod, and he remixed popular songs. He was able to do this without much trouble. He kept it simple and did everything himself, writing, animating, directing, and publishing. It seems he's humble, saying in an interview that he never intended to break the internet. He explained he just wanted to make something unexpected and silly. He said he was just having fun and not exploiting human vulnerabilities, but there might be something more meaningful to his videos. Gerasimov grew up during the Russia-Georgia War of 2008, which might partly explain his violent videos. Also, pitting technology against the most primitive thing in modern life, the place where we do our poo-poo and pee-pee, might be kind of profound. It's like nature versus technology, the past against the future. That's pretty cool. This narrative goes back years and is now in our blood. Number 13. It's almost mirroring the narrative of George Orwell's dystopian novel, The Origin of the Concept of Big Brother, 1984, in that Skibidi Toilet is the surveillance state fighting against something much more natural. In 2020, Fast Company asked how social media is pushing us toward 1984. It talked about a world in which telescreens in 1984 are our mobile devices, where beliefs can hold two contradictory meanings, where the thought police govern our social media platforms, and where we vent our anger and offense at the polarized other in what is a modern version of Orwell's Hate Week. Did Gerasimov intend to follow in the footsteps of great writers? But maybe writer Aldous Huxley was right, and we live in a world like his dystopian novel Brave New World. Is Skibidi Toilet representing a Brave New World reality? Number 12. In Brave New World, the rulers don't need constant Big Brother surveillance to control humans, since consumerism and technology, along with a kind of soothing antidepressant named Soma, is enough to keep people occupied and not thinking about how governance and society work. Technology keeps people safe, no one speaks out of line. In the Brave New World, no one's feelings get hurt. The government protects people from everything harmful. The world is a big old comfort box, but people don't quite feel happy. They're so distracted all the time that they don't know why. Is Skibidi Toilet then part of our real-life Brave New World? Is it part of the distraction? Maybe you think we're crazy saying that, but after all we've already heard, how do you think content consumption will turn out as time passes? What will the future look like? Might some people start saying, But I don't want comfort, I want God, I want poetry, I want real danger, I want freedom, I want goodness, I want sin. Okay, now back to something less controversial and confusing. Number 11. When we started making this show, Gerasimov's channel had seen a massive 11,239,293,477 video views. Just think about that for a second. Most of those views came after he introduced the toilet war, but only in April 2023 did things really take off. He's had billions of views in just a few months. That is simply outstanding. It really is a historical moment, good or bad. Number 10. In the last 30 days, and we mean when we started making the show, his videos had been watched 1.5 billion times. Number 9. That month, he'd gained an extra 4.5 million subscribers. Number 10. But what's maybe more worrying for him is his subs were down 4.5% the month before. As you know, in a world of distraction content, people are fickle. They soon turn to something new. Number 7. There are now people on TikTok copying Gerasimov's content and trying to look like they're him. TikTok, it seems, is reluctant to take them down. Gerasimov explained in an interview, "I tried to take them down, but TikTok support doesn't care. Even after all the proof I've given to them, they're unable to verify me." Number 6. Gerasimov said it doesn't matter anyway since he's the only one who knows how this is all gonna end. He hasn't ever talked about how the series will finish, but he did once say, "The main plot line is all planned out already, but some in-between episodes are added sometimes. It'll continue for a while." As we said in another video, there's no reason he would kill what's become a cash cow with udders the size of the Empire State Building. Okay, so how much money does he actually make? Number 5. Before we answer that, let's state something we talked about in another video. According to his country's National Statistics Office, the average monthly wage in the country of Georgia is $687.57. But without a college degree, which is Gerasimov's situation, people could find themselves earning just $200 a month. According to other data we found, a lot of people in Georgia are earning in the region of $450 a month. Number 4. As for how much YouTubers earn in general, there are many factors involved, such as video length, where your audience is, ad quality, ad blockers, if people watch the entire video, and if they actually click on an ad or watch it right through. Google actually takes 55% of the ad revenue, but you might also earn in the region of $100 per 1,000 views if the video is sponsored. The Fuck Boom does indeed have brand collaborations, brands that want to impress his young audience. Just imagine how much a brand would be willing to pay if they thought that 50 million young, impressionable people were going to see their ad. 50 million is nothing too special for a Skibidi Toilet video. He's holding in his hands the goose that can lay some of the best golden eggs in human history. On top of that, he also has a merchandise line. Number 3. In May 2022, when Fuck Boom was still just a small-time player on YouTube, Gerasimov might have been pulling in about $2,000 a month, which for Georgia is nothing to complain about. But in February 2023, he might have been earning more like $78,000 a month, which is an outright fortune wherever you live. Number 2. But as we make this video, websites that look at YouTube data are saying at the very minimum, he's earning about $380,000 a month, and at the maximum rate, meaning all of his YouTube stars align, about $6 million a month. That would mean $37,500 an hour if he was working an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. He's almost certainly not getting the maximum, but then he also makes money from TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. To be honest, it's impossible to say how much he earns in total. Websites have estimated his net worth to be anywhere between $3.13 million and $18.8 million, but most of that is just earned recently. Regardless, the kid has done very, very well. In any market you work in, besides perhaps government surveillance or the hairpiece business, if you're getting over 1 billion eyes on your product in 1 month, you're gonna earn some serious money. Imagine what 1 billion views could do for your product and what you'd be willing to pay for that many people seeing it. But just remember, it's very hard to crack YouTube. Many have tried and many have failed, even when they have sophisticated and entertaining content. We found an honest person online who showed her earnings report sent from YouTube. She'd gained 7,824 subscribers and 64,748 video views, and she earned a grand total of, drumroll, $35.67. Seriously, that's a lot of hard work for the price of baby back ribs at the Hard Rock Cafe on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, we actually looked that up. We've now reached the #1 spot, so for you guys who could hold on this long, the people who obviously have some solid attention spans, let's look at some predictions for Fuck Boom. Number 1. The most predictable thing about predictions is that they're almost always wrong. And when it comes to the creative space where people are particularly difficult to pin down, Making a prediction is like blowing a kiss and hoping it'll find your soulmate on the other side of the world. Still, if the trend continues with Skibidi Toilet and Gerasimov can keep releasing popular, ultra-addictive videos, then by September 2024, his video views might have reached 41,143,783,056. We know it's kinda senseless trying to predict 5 years down the line, but just for fun, let's say he keeps going at this rate. That would mean he'd reach 387,717,126,490 views. We think at that point he could flush his entire enterprise down the toilet and count himself one of the winners in the creative space. But by that time, much of mankind might only be able to consume at most 30 seconds of content before they get bored and switch to something else. In 10 years, will 10 seconds of content for humans be like showing the pages of Tolstoy's War and Peace to a goldfish? We hope not, but who knows? The bad news for all content creators who hope to sustain an audience is, according to new studies, not only is our attention span narrowing on average, but trends no longer last as long. Maybe someday reading a book or finishing a whole season of a TV show might be like climbing Mount Everest, but it won't matter because there will be infinite distractions for us to follow. Now you need to see how things will go down and what Earth looks like at 100 billion population, or have a look at the end of civilization century by century.